Hi guys, it's John Corelli, Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli, and yeah, you're doing a good job putting up with me because, as you can see from the shirt in the background, this is the fourth one I did in a row, just trying to knock them out. This one isn't going to be as fun, I don't think, but I think I may have some more insight on this than the average person, possibly, just because of my background in political science and history, having a degree in history with a minor in political science. Let's talk about the Ukraine. You know, okay, first of all, let's start with this. Anyone who defends this is out of their nut. I don't know how you can defend what Putin is doing. A lot of people are trying to say, well, in 2014, you know, the Ukraine had a coup, and I don't know if they killed the guy. Can't remember the guy's name, but they threw out a guy who was considered a dictator and was definitely a puppet of the Russian regime under Putin. So, you know, and I think this is kind of revenge for that. I don't think this is all just historical stuff, that although that's huge within this, but this is, I think, Putin getting a little revenge for what happened in 2014. By the way, Zelensky, the leader of the Ukraine, who is kind of a badass, and also was a stand-up comedian. So, Corelli for president 2024. But he was a stand-up comedian, and I will defend comedy because most of the people that do comedy, most of the people that I am privileged to know and hang out with sometimes, very smart people. You have to be somewhat intelligent to come up with original takes on stuff and then translate it and make it funny for a general audience. There's an intelligence there. I don't have it at a very high level, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than the average person, although I'm starting to think so after the Trump years, but there is an intelligence there and an open-mindedness that leads to more intelligence. I mean, a lot of these guys and women, you know, like guys, I mean both, you know, guys, just people, are extremely intelligent people, well-read, and just vibrant thinkers, I guess is the best way to put it. And when you see original writing, that comes from a place of intelligence. That's the only place it can come from. Sometimes it comes from a place of insanity, like Hunter S. Thompson. But despite his insanity, I don't think anyone would say Hunter S. Thompson was a dummy. Crazy maybe, but not a dummy. I mean, look at when you go back to comedy, and I'll get back to the Ukraine soon, but like Robin Williams, what an incredible mind he had. Amazing, right? And so, I mean, he's obviously way up here, but most of these guys are smart, and so that leads to why Zelensky was elected in the Ukraine, I think 2 or 3 years ago, not too long ago. But you know, this is a guy that has shown he's intelligent. He's shown he's just like so many badasses, or Ukrainian badasses. For those of you who don't know, the mayor of Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine, is Vitaly Klitschko. If you don't know, he's one half of the Klitschko brothers who dominated boxing back about 10-15 years ago. Vladimir and I don't know if you say it Vladimir, because it's Vladimir with a W, which is weird, so I don't know if it's Vladimir or Vladimir. But Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko are the two brothers, and these are the guys, you've maybe seen them on social media, excuse me. Klitschko brothers sent me a little coke to do a nice read up on them, but they've taken up arms, just like many citizens in the cities in the Ukraine have, to defend their country. And I don't think they're full of shit. I think these guys are the real deal and would die for that country. And I'm just amazed at the resolve of the Ukrainian people. I'm amazed at it, but I'm not surprised by it, because this is a country that's just getting into first world stuff a lot. They've got huge amounts of people that are into social media. There are huge YouTube accounts, one called Troom, very silly stuff, but they understand what the first world's about. They also understand what the third world's about. There's a lot of rough places in the Ukraine that have dealt with extreme poverty. So this is a country that is ready to get on that first world stage, and in some places already has. And I don't know, say fiercely showing their independence over the last 8 years since the coup took place. And although they should not be a threat to Russia, I think they are. Not militarily as much as socially. They used to be part of the Soviet Union. They've been, and just a little bit about the Ukraine. About 17% of the Ukraine, the eastern part, which is occupied right now by Russian troops, and was before this whole thing even started a month or two ago. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. So about 17% of the Ukrainians describe themselves as Russian, as of Russian descent, as, how do I want to put it, nationalistically Russian, of Russian descent. The other, I think there's about 8% of the people are different, different nationalities, different, how do I want to put it? I don't know. I can't think of words right now. So I'm in about 40 minutes on these videos, and I kind of ran out. And then the other 77% self-describe as hardcore Ukrainians. So more than 3/4 of the country sees themselves as Ukrainians, and obviously are against this. Want to be this is like I said at the beginning. This is an attack of a sovereign nation upon another sovereign nation. Or at least I think I said that at the beginning. That's what I wanted to say. Here's some problems. I think a lot of problems that we don't understand as Americans, and I don't think it's been said a lot. At least I haven't seen it said a lot. Is what the typical Russian people are about, especially their leaders, and how they are a good mix of Asian and European culture. We forget that. We often think the Russians are just Europeans because most of the population is west of the Ural Mountains and therefore technically European. But the vast majority of their country, Siberia, all that stuff east of the Ural Mountains, is Asian. And there is that Asian influence as to how they approach politics, the military, social justice, everything. And part of that is called saving face. And if you don't know what that's about, that's like the Japanese. That's why historians rationalize, and often justly rationalize, why we dropped atomic bombs on not one but two cities, civilian populations, at the end of World War II to end that war, because the mode of thought was that Japan, the Japanese people, would keep fighting and fighting and fighting until the last man died. And it's not that unreasonable of thought. I don't like that we dropped bombs on civilian populations to show them that we could destroy Tokyo, but it was something that most historians agree probably was actually less costly in lives than if we would have kept coming and coming and coming, because that's what the Japanese would have done. And so that's something that's part of Russian culture. Saving face. Putin is in too deep now to pull back and go, you know what, I screwed up. He's in. Once he started this, and especially once he just to go back a little bit, so you have that. You have the saving face along with the European, I don't know if I'd call it reasoning, but this is a former KGB guy. This is the guy, there's a reason he got along with Trump so well. I don't know what a MAGA hat would look like in Russia, but I'm guessing it would be red with yellow print and would say something like, make the Soviet Union again, or great again, or however. This is an old school Soviet Union guy. He's about to turn 70. He was a KGB guy during the 80s, okay? This guy is a badass, and probably, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's killed people in his KGB past, and maybe even to keep power. He is officially a dictator now. He has rewritten the Constitution while he is in power to make it so he stays in power until he dies. That's what a dictator does. And so that's why it was upsetting to me in our last term when Trump was buddy-buddy with him. No, this is a sociopathic dictator that wants to take parts of the Soviet Union back. Belarus is on their side. Belarus will remain independent because they are part of like the old Russian, when it was the Soviet Union, and there were countries that were not actually in the Soviet Union, like that bordered them, like Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, former Yugoslavia. All those countries were called satellite countries. Hungary, where there was a uprising in 1956 that was horribly crushed by the Soviets. All of that is what Putin wants again. And he sees, especially since the Ukraine tried to get into NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is obviously a Western alliance, he sees that as a threat. Maybe reasonably, maybe not. And we should have put him in. We should have put Ukraine on a fast track to NATO. We should have said, you know what, yes, you guys want to be part of us, we want you in. That would have showed some resolve. As for what's going on in the last few days, there is some hope. This did not come as easy as the Russians thought, which is really stupid to underestimate the resolve of the Ukrainian people. They've proven how tough they are for millennia at this point. I actually think, I know I reference Seinfeld way too much, but there's a funny one where they're playing Risk. Kramer and Newman are playing Risk, and they bring it on the subway like a couple idiots because they don't trust each other. One of them's going to cheat if it's left in one of their apartments. And Kramer's dominating the game, and Newman's like, I still have the Ukraine. Ukraine's strong, and Kramer just starts talking shit out loud, like, the Ukraine's a road apple. I'll have the Ukraine in a few days, talking just how soft the Ukraine is. And there's some fucking Ukrainian dude on the big old Russian fuzzy hat going, you say Ukraine is soft? And he's, hey, we're just trying to, and Kramer's like, hey, we're just trying to play a game, but he's like, Ukraine is game to you, I take your game, and he smashes the wrist board and the pieces go flying all over. And that is a funny, comical way to look at the Ukrainian people, but I think it's pretty true. These are some badass people. Look at them. They got men, women, and children digging in with weapons against the Russians. And this is turning out to be something that Putin did not expect. And the thing I was also going to mention, well, that happened in the last couple of days, the European Union finally, because it shouldn't have taken this long, is sending weapons to the Ukraine. So at the very least, that's what we should be doing. I honestly think we should have troops over there. If this guy wants to threaten nukes, which is the scary part, that's why I have to say to Vladimir Putin, for threatening nuclear war, should him being on the wrong side of history be dealt with. So anyway, there's another long video. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully I got something valid to say. And hopefully I'll keep them going. All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.